What's going on, guys? Welcome to the WWT commentary channel. My name is Barry.
This is Colby.
And yeah, this is going to be a new segment for us. We are actually, obviously this is not going to be a commentary channel or commentary episode, but we are starting a new segment.
A new segment. And we're going to be doing new movies.
Yeah.
So like things that you probably just saw or actually are looking forward to.
Yeah, so the new segment's going to be called Now Playing What's Up. And because I don't know if I'm going to be able to edit this in time for Halloween, but you know, Halloween drips into Thanksgiving anyway, so.
Right. Yeah.
But today we're going to be talking about Terrifier 2.
Oh, yeah.
I think I told you about this before, but I think the perfect tagline for Art the Clown is that he makes Pennywise look like Krusty the
He's like the illegitimate child of Pennywise and Freddy Krueger.
No, see, I think he would equal them in terror.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is real life. This is happening in your face.
That is true. That is true.
But we're gonna be doing like 3 different segments for the plot of the movie, and then we're gonna do a segment where we do our like theories on what happened in the movie, what's going on in the movie, and then final thoughts. So we could talk about Act 1, which it's just gonna be the first segment of the film. We do start the movie. I think it picks off like right after the first one, right?
Right.
And
even though like it's like a year later, but that first scene is like
from the end of the first movie, right?
Yeah.
And man, this definitely does not waste time on the gory gruesomeness.
It just dives right into it.
Oh. I feel so bad for this coroner, but like, man, the slow walk into the alley after he murders this coroner, and when he goes into the laundromat, which I'm going to be real, like, I don't know if you've ever, like, if you guys out there have used a laundromat before, 100% accurate though. Like, so many weirdos go into laundromats. And you just learn to mind your own business.
This was weirdly like you're watching him and you're like, I don't know if he's supernatural. Is he an alien? Is he a monster? Is he a demon? Is he just a clown? And then he goes into the laundromat and strips down and puts his bloody clown costume and it like so humanizes him to me.
But he doesn't put any like detergent. So is the clothes supernatural just like he is? He has to be supernatural because he took a gunshot to the head at the end of the first one.
Yeah.
And he's just fine.
You're right.
Or is he a mutant? See, and that's the thoughts that we could have had until he makes they have credited her on the credits, Little Pale Girl.
Yes, yeah.
And we do later learn that I think it's one of his past victims.
I don't know, because like it didn't.
It showed like the clip on the book, and it kind of looked like her.
Oh,
so I don't know.
Yes, you're probably right.
But see, like we could have been like he's all these other things, like except for supernatural, until we get introduced to the Little Pale Girl. And I don't know what happens. I want to say she's pooping. And that's like the best case scenario. But it could also be like the elevator scene from Psycho. And it's just dark black.
Yeah. She is excreting from somewhere some black chunky oatmeal liquid.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm going to try to put this on, like, because as we're going through this episode for like Now Playing, I'm still kind of saving for a camera that's going to be. I'm trying to make my space big enough where I could actually do a film setup, which would be nice.
Right. Like a real studio.
Yeah.
We got a recording studio, but we need like a film studio.
Yeah, which is hard, you know. Yeah. And so I'm gonna try to upload this with that part in there. I just don't think it's gonna get through though. And you know, the funniest part is while all this is happening, there's a guy sleeping.
Yep.
Have you ever?
And I see that in like a laundromat. There's just a guy sleeping. That could happen.
Have you ever used a laundromat before?
I have. It's been a long time. But yeah, like early 90s. Like so.
You know what? I kind of miss using it because it's just another chance to like maybe meet somebody. If you guys don't know, I'm single, and I'm trying to find out all the reasons to meet new people. Because you know, when it's like when you're in the laundromat, it's like you're working.
Right.
You're kind of stuck in the same place, and like sometimes the book you're reading is kind of boring at that moment.
Right.
But no, he dies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Art the Clown is wiping something down that's not there, but he can see it, and he's wiping that girl's excretion.
Cleaning up her mess. Yes. Yeah.
But during this Act 1, 2, we also get introduced to Sienna.
Yep.
Which, in my mind, I kept hearing your daughter's name. I was like, that's not the name, but why does it sound like that?
And I don't know why, but the her little brother,
yeah,
to me just was like he was like a Lawrence brother.
Oh, like
the middle one,
Joey,
the skinny, the skinniest one.
Yeah, it's not Joey. It's like I think it's Andy. No, that's the. I forgot his name now.
Yeah,
the one that turned out the most well-adjusted.
Right. Yeah,
the one that was in Boy Meets World. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. Kind of he kind of reminded me of Reese from Malcolm in the Middle, just the way he looks.
Okay,
yeah.
Yes, I could go with that too. Yeah, he kind of had the same haircut and stuff too.
Yeah, but we get introduced to like who I'm pretty sure we're gonna be following throughout this whole film is Sienna and her little brother Jonathan, and their very stressed out mother.
Yes.
She is working from home, an insurance adjuster or claims person.
Yeah, dealing with problem people.
But man, she is just not having it. Any thoughts on the mother?
She's stressed. She is a single mother, so she's dealing with a daughter who is coming of age of not wanting a parent around, and a boy who is a little odd and troublemaking.
A parent or
who unfortunately needs a father, and there's not one.
Yeah. But it actually turns out I think this is kind of the first time we actually get a time stamp on where we are on the Terrifier series.
Right.
And it's a year later. We find out that Jonathan wants to be the Miles County clown killer, which is Art the Clown. And they're like, dude, that's sick. You're not going to be that guy. Right. That's like real people. He killed real people.
Right. Yes. Yeah, that's disgraceful. If you do that, you're like celebrating murder.
Yeah. And, so like, I get it. It's valid, right? You can only do that 20 years later.
Right.
When it's...
Because they were like, you don't see anybody dressing up as Jeffrey Dahmer. And then I'm like, oh, but now that Netflix series came out,
no.
You probably will.
I know. And their lines are going to be like, I just want to take your photo. It's going to be so bad. I really hope I don't see people dressed up like Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm going to punch you in the face. No, and so, but this family's kind of stressed. Like, the mom's stressed. The daughter, she's dived fully into, like, costume making, a little bit of art. But the brother is super into serial killers.
Yeah. Which I feel for him. I like it. I feel him because I wanted to be a psychology major in high school, and I took a psychology class, and I really kind of got into serial killers too. I thought that was just a really fascinating, like, what would make somebody do that. Mm-hmm. And I went to the bookstore, I went to the library, I had books on serial killers, just kind of like, not because I was like, I want to be a serial killer too. What do I do? How do I avoid the
do I get away
mistakes? But like, it was being into psychology. It was just fascinating. It was like, what would make somebody's mind justify that being something okay as a regular activity?
Yeah, and that's what we think is happening, because he pulls out this book and it actually has like clippings from like the Art the Clown killings.
Yep.
And we're like, damn, he like, where did he get a freaking newspaper?
Yeah.
where did he get these clippings? So we like, and then obviously his sister Sienna is just super like, is he not worrying you?
Yeah. Eventually, we're just gonna find dead animals in his room, Mom. And she's like, no, he's just a kid.
He's just going through things, and we do. I guess we do find out later. This is more, I guess, in the Act 2, but and so like Act 1 is really just setting up our main character, which is Sienna and the little brother Jonathan. We find out that Sienna has like one good friend and one kind of shitty friend. Well, she's actually I think she's actually a good friend, but she's like kind of a bitch.
She's as much, but she's like, she's got the best friend, and then this is the friend who takes you to the parties.
Yeah, but she could, if she was just less of a bitch, she could be best friend number 2.
Right.
But she's like the fun friend.
I don't know. Do you ever have a best friend number 2?
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta, like, there's, I have a best friend that I've known for like 17 years.
Right.
And like, I got a best friend that like, like we hung out every day until, he got a kid. Which is fine,
Right,
like,
and then you got replaced by a kid. Yeah, he wasn't a best friend. He was just a friend.
Yeah, I would tell him every time, like, your stupid daughter. Little bitch. Just always whining. I never whined. But no, yeah.
I feel like your editing skills are going to remove that from this.
No, he could hear this. But and so yeah, the first act of this movie is just pretty much setting up. Obviously, there's a lot of killing that's happening with Art the Clown. But we don't get to see why, because then like it's funny, he doesn't really have a connection to Sienna until the end of Act 1, where she has a dream about being on a child show with him.
Yeah.
Which
to me, I don't know if anybody ever saw UHF, the Weird Al movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was that show, but run by a mass murderer.
And I think this is what kind of kicks off Act 2 in this movie, because when they're doing this show, right, we actually do know that Sienna has a gift from her father, which was, her father was I think a comic book like drawer, illustrator.
He was at least an artist of some kind, because it's like they've got sketchbooks. That's what the
son is holding on to. And but like he made his daughter like one of the swords from his sketches.
Right, yeah, and he sketched like a angel, like
a battle angel.
Yeah, battle angel.
Yeah, right.
And then he had a sword made and gave his daughter the sword.
Yeah, and so she actually uses that in the dream while Art the Clown is like killing all these people.
Yeah.
With like a Tommy gun and a flamethrower, and she's able to repel the fire with the sword.
Right.
But then it actually bleeds into real life, which is very kind of Freddy Krueger like.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on? Like, like, is this supernatural? What's happening? But I think that really kicks off Act 2, which, to be honest, for me, I felt like we kind of could have cut Act 2 in half and kind of just went straight to the third act.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I'm going to tell you right now, Act 2 is pretty much Sienna goes to a club with her party friend,
right?
Because the best friend doesn't make it because Art the Clown kills her. Right. When they, I guess he gets a whiff of her at the costume store, when Sienna had to get new wings.
Right, because when the dream bleeds into real life, it messes up the wings that she's built for. Well, lights the on fire. The wings that she had built for her cosplay, so she has to go to just like a Halloween shop, day of Halloween, and
Yeah, and she's all mad about it. She's like, "Ugh,
right,
look at me reduced to costume store wings."
yeah,
And I was like, wow, only a real cosplay snob
exactly.
of this mass produced wings. And then but yeah, Art the Clown ends up killing her pretty gruesomely.
That's probably the most gruesome, most
Yeah.
brutal killing of the movie.
Ooh, I thought about it. I almost threw up.
Yeah.
And so this whole club scene is, I felt like ran too long, but while Sienna's at the club with her friend, you actually end up finding out that the friend puts Molly in her drink. That's why she's kind of having fun. Jonathan gets into an argument with his mom because when he was at school in the first act, they find a dead possum, and then he runs into Art the Clown and the little pale girl playing with the possum, and then he gets suspended because the school thinks he's the one fucking playing with dead possums.
Right. And then mom kind of believes it because she was just talking to the daughter about oh my goodness, you're gonna end up finding dead animals in his room, and then the next day he's
playing with a dead animal.
Gets RPC'd for playing with a dead animal at school.
Yeah, and throwing its guts around the hallway.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad. It's a pretty bad look, right?
Right, and he's all like, "It wasn't me," but he's got the blood on him because Art hit him with threw the possum at him.
Yeah, and so he ends up running away from home, and then the mom finds the car, and it's TP'd with shaving cream and pumpkin guts, and it's has bitch on it. And so the mom calls Sienna hey, your brother's out of control.
Yep.
But then she's like, "Are you drinking?" And she's like, "No, I'm not drinking." And then she kind of breaks the tension by just saying, "I love you." And she's the mom feels bad. She's like, "I love you too. I'm sorry. Have fun.
Have fun. Be safe."
Yeah. And then as she's cleaning it, Art the Clown with a pistol-like shotgun. It's like a freaking pistol sawed-off.
A very sawed-off shotgun. Yeah.
That thing is blowing you both away.
Right, yeah.
But he wrecks this lady's face it is savage. And then when Jonathan comes home, sorry, a little backstory. So what's called Sienna's friend gets found out by her mom,
right,
and then the mom gets killed too.
Yes.
And then he serves children freaking trick or treats in her head.
Yeah, because it's Halloween. Yeah.
And they're like, "Why is it so sticky?"
And he's weirdly nice to kids,
except for Jonathan.
Well, yeah, but Jonathan's a snotty little brat, so he deserves a poking.
Yeah. And so Sienna ends up kind of freaking out in the club because she's getting little hints of the little pale girl following her around, and then Jonathan gets caught by Art the Clown.
Yep.
And the little pale girl is able to call and that's pretty much Act 2. I kind of feel like we could have cut down a lot of it and trimmed this to a nice 140. Mm-hmm. I think that's just me though.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Oh, but also in the second act, we do find out that the book that Jonathan has is their father's sketchbook. And then Sienna's like, "Why did you put all these articles in Dad's sketchbook?" And he's like, "I didn't. It was already in there." And then their dad also had drawn photos of all the victims from the first one.
Right. And so I was like, are they planning on making Art their dad?
Is that what you thought?
I thought, because he was oh yeah, he died. Oh. Art died a year ago on Halloween. These people get killed. That would have been the origin of Art, and it could be Dad.
Well, save that for theory.
Okay.
For our theories. But yeah, and so when we get to the third act though, Act 3, I think this is the last 40 minutes of it. Sienna gets a call from Jonathan, which it's actually not Jonathan. It's the little pale girl doing Jonathan's voice.
Right.
So that's the first time we ever heard one of these beings talk.
Right, yeah, because you don't even hear a laugh out of Art. He is mime clown.
Or it's so like trans-dimensional that like we can't hear it in this dimension.
I like he's very, very emotive with his face, so you know when he's mad and when he's laughing, and like very expressive, but never a sound.
Never a sound, right? And so Sienna ends up going to the carnival, which her friend is like super pissed, but the boyfriend's like, whatever, it's like only a couple miles off.
Yeah.
So they go there, and this is kind of where the final battle happens. But before the final battle happens, like the boyfriend of the girl, his dick gets ripped off.
Yeah, he gets
like a freaking
pee slashed off,
like a chimpanzee. Jesus, he got that gorilla grip because he doesn't like cut it off. He like grabs it and rips it off.
Well, so he gets stabbed like in the abdomen, I guess.
Oh no, he stabs him in the penis and then he rips it off.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's even more brutal. And then he kills the girl, but like he chases her into the little carnival thing
called the Terrifier.
The Terrifier. Well, no, I think it's not the Terrifier.
The Terrified
like,
or Terrifying.
No, it's a Terrifier, but I think that they're just in the park still. Or are they in the Terrifier? I don't know. But he kills her like in the toilet, in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Pretty gruesome too, but like I think she kind of had it easier than the girl, her friend Ellie.
Oh, so much easier.
Because at the end, Ellie was still alive.
Yep.
That's the worst torture, man. Because then he just concaves this girl's chest in, like she got that barrel chest syndrome. It is ruthless, but I think I'd much rather have that death than the. Oh man, God. We'll talk about the kills a little bit more in depth, but the last act too is just like it's a pretty long fight against Sienna and Art the Clown. He's whipping her with like a handmade razor whip.
Yeah.
It's like medical grade scissors and
scalpels and stuff. Yep.
And
it's like from Machete when he takes all the stuff from the hospital and
he just makes his own weapon. Jeez, it was rough, but her and the brother are able to kind of like separate and then kind of like take some of his time off each other until they're able to really come back together and finish him off. And
right.
Like even like I think she finishes him off with the dad's sword, right?
Yep.
And like even then, like he's just like he looks like he's terrified, but then he offers his neck up, and she lops it off. But even then, like it didn't really feel like a victory because they had like a minute to celebrate, and then the little pale girl comes,
picks up his head, and walks off with it.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I don't know if I'd let that happen, but she's so fucked up. Like she's so messed up right now.
Yeah.
Her and the brother.
Right. Yeah. I'll just.
That I guess you don't want that problem. It's like what's it called? Like the gauntlet in wrestling. You can't keep. It's too hard to go one after another. It's just.
Yep. Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to lay down and just. But it's we can safely assume that the brother and sister are fine-ish,
right?
But then we get to a mid-credit scene with Y2J,
right? Yeah, because then the credits roll and you're like, oh, movie's over. Yeah, kind of wanted a little bit more, and then
Y2J.
Yep,
the walls. Yeah, no, we actually end up. They do talk. The day that this all takes place is the day of the interview from the first movie.
Right.
And we actually, it's Chris Jericho and a nurse, and she's like, the nurse is just like, ooh, I don't know if I can call that living. Because, her face is messed up. We cut to the sole survivor from last year's Survivor of Art the Clown. And she is like written like whore, cunt from like her blood.
Yes, from her nether region blood.
But then, like, when she pans or when she cuts away from the wall, it says Vicky and Art in a heart.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is she in love with him? And then, like, she starts pulling out her guts from her nether regions. And when the nurse comes in, she's holding Art the Clown's head.
Yeah.
And then Colby had made a statement like, it's like Kenny from South Park. And the movie kind of ends, but so let's go to our theories. Colby, I know you have to have some theories about how this movie went. Let's hear yours first.
It was like so many possibilities, like, because like it starts off scary because you think it's a clown, and then you like, but it's got super strength.
Super regeneration.
Super regeneration. It's apparently only like the Jeepers Creepers. It only comes out, around Halloween. Where Jeepers Creepers is like
20, like every 27 years.
Oh, so
that's a better break.
Yes, it's a better break. But yeah, and then you got the girl who's like the people in the old guy in the laundromat couldn't see her.
Yeah.
But then she plays an active part. She's the one who does the voice on the phone. She picks up Art's head. So you like, is he a demon? Is he possessed? It's like, yeah, because I mean, like, could be like he's this serial killer clown, but then he's like, or maybe not even maybe just a clown that's possessed by a demon or possessed by some spirit that's keeping him alive.
She got that same possession though. I mean, them teeth,
right?
Chompers are disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like the spirit of Halloween. Like, it's just.
Oh, yeah. Because, yeah, he does seem like. Do you think he would have let her friend go if she had given her candy? If she had given him candy? I don't know.
Right? Yeah,
because she like tosses it at him.
Yeah, angrily, like, adult.
Right.
Get out of here.
I don't know, man. My whole theory, right, as I was watching this, because I was like, we're going through this, and I'm like, oh, maybe he's like a mutant. He could just super regenerate or something like that, or like, it's like Jason Voorhees,
right?
Or they all like take a abundant amount of damage and still keep going. There has to be something supernatural or mutant about it, right?
Yeah.
Until we got to the little pale girl, and we see that the guy at the laundromat is like, "What is he's playing patty cake by himself? Fucking weirdo." And like, and then when he's cleaning up the mess she made, it's not there. So I'm like, okay. But then then we get to the whole dream sequence, and I'm like, okay, so he can go into her dreams.
Right.
But my biggest thing is that like when we get to the part where we find out that it's actually the dad's sketchbook, I was like, did her dad create the character and it just came to life? I don't know. Like, because if he was a comic book writer, he could have been sketching out ideas,
right?
And
like, then you just you believe something enough and it comes true, kind of.
Yeah, and then that's why
manifest it.
Yeah, and then that's why he killed himself. Because we do find out
what
from the
he
friend
created is now this unstoppable monster.
Yeah. And I was
feels
like,
bad, guilty. So
did his dad have superpowers? But then that's why he also had to put his daughter in with like the battle angel armor, because he's like, I have to make a something that's going to oppose his ultimate evil.
Yeah.
And then when he found out like all the things that he had sketched out had happened in real life, that's when he just killed himself.
Right. Yeah. And so I wonder if it was like he had to sacrifice himself to invoke the power into the sword to be strong enough to kill
Art the Clown.
Art.
But then it didn't even kill him fully. Yeah, I know they want to do that for Terror T3.
Oh, right, because they basically already have that green lit.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then they also like so. What the movie? His first movie is All Hallows Eve. Is
Yeah.
it? But apparently he's in 2 shorts before that.
Oh man, the Art the Clown lore goes deeper.
And so there's one of the short movies, or the shorts is about the Ring of 12 Demons,
Oh, okay.
and he is not one of the 12 demons,
Oh,
but he is the clown that kind of scares the girl into the subway where she gets trapped by the 12 demons.
yeah.
So he's just like this creepy
Henchman.
familiar almost. Yeah.
Oh, or no, what if that was like his initiation, you know? Because you can't have just 12 demons. You have to have 13.
Right.
That's evil.
Oh, that's true.
bad luck.
Yeah. Or it's like he's trying to impress them, so he's
All
like
right.
doing this is brutal murders
Here's
so
a
that
sacrifice for
so
you
that he
guys,
can
yeah.
and they're like, you got killed, but we're enjoying watching you, so we'll kind of heal you.
You know, yeah, we'll give you another shot.
Yeah.
All right? You know,
Every Halloween we'll bring you back and let you take another run at it.
take another, give it another good old college try, dude. But all right, so let's talk about this is not really a segment because it's not always gonna have the goriest kill. Yo, the kill with Ellie is it's so much more brutal than any other kill in this movie.
Yes.
Because then, like, what does he do first he stabs her in the back a whole bunch of times.
Right.
Which I'm like, okay. But then he, like, breaks and rips her forearm off.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
He
Whoa.
splits her fingers apart and then
Oh, yeah, he
just
takes...
rips her, like, hand in half sideways.
He also, like, stabs her in the cheek and then goes up.
Right.
And
And then
just-
turns it into a scalping.
Oh, yeah, he's, like, holding on to... Oh, my God. And then, like, even though you think, like, she has to be dead, he's, like, he props her up on the bed, is playing with her, and then the mom comes, and she's just freaked out. And then you're like, all right, she's dead. She has to be dead.
Right. Yeah.
But then what does she say?
Help me.
Huh?
Help me, Mom.
Yeah. I was like, nah.
I-
Just
and,
let go.
And like after he's like chopped off, like broke off her arm and split her hand and broke her leg and scalped her, he leaves and she starts like crawling towards like across the room to get to the phone, and he comes running back in silently but hilariously laughing with a container of salt and a container of bleach and just pours it all over her like all her 50% of her body is
Exposed.
deskinned, yeah.
Yeah.
And he just is just laughing as he's roughly rubbing salt into her wounds.
Figuratively and literally.
Yeah.
All right. Compare the kills though from the split in the first one versus this. I gotta say this one is worse.
Yeah.
Because at least with the split, when you get to the end of it, you're dead.
Right.
This.
Yeah, because like both of these, like it's like something brutal. Like a lot of his kills are like, I'm gonna hit you with this mallet until your skull cracks. Okay,
Yeah.
but you know it's
or like your
it's-
chest concaves in.
right. But it's at least it's a death is coming and then
Yeah.
it's there. But this, yeah,
Oh yeah. It's probably
This
the
is-
most
this is like
brutal kill.
This is like
episode.
the killer whales who are like tossing the live seals back and forth between each other, just playing with their food.
All right. We do have another segment though. We call it negative zone. What do you think? What was something that you kind of didn't like in this movie?
So I understood the whole like her and then the sword, and because you kind of got enough little backstory, you knew that sword was going to be the killing weapon. Mm-hmm. But then as she starts, it's like she's kind of drowning, you get the sword kind of gives you that like mid 80s like glowy flash that kind of like heals her enough for her to get out of the tank.
Yeah.
That was weird. Like they should have had her like almost drowned, and then like then later on, like a couple seconds later after the artist like beating up the brother, then the arm comes out of the top of the tank or something, and you're just like, oh, she is gonna survive. But
that would have been a really sweet like Evil Dead poster homage.
yes, oh yeah. Exactly. But you have like the little glowy sword thing. I was like,
yeah,
is that where you're going?
It kind of reminded me of The Last Dragon when they all start glowing.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa,
show enough.
You know, that would be an amazing movie to do commentary. The Last Dragon. People need to know about that. That was like one of my favorite movies growing up. I think I watched it recently. I was like, ooh, this was not as good as I remember. But one of my whole gripes about this movie is grindhouse movies are typically like barely qualifying as a movie, like lengthwise.
Right.
It's a solid 85 minutes, right? that's the Full House guarantee. You'll at least get 85 minutes.
Right. Yep.
And the reason they do that is because back then, like what in VHSs, they're like, that's not qualifying as a movie. It's like too short.
Yeah.
It's a waste of tape.
Right. Yep.
And so like what Full House had to be like, all right, cool, 85 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think this is what this movie kind of needed. I think that's why the first one is like pretty deep. It's like pretty good. It has like this cult following, right? Where it's like, there's no explanation. There's no trying to explain his lore. He's just a clown.
Yeah.
And he's gruesomely killing people. And so for this to be 2 hours long, because like I know they wanted to do this back in 2020, but then the pandemic happened.
Right.
So they had to wait. So it was like a 6-year gap between the first one and this one. I think they wanted to kind of just put in all these ideas that they wanted. But I think it was counterintuitive to what they were actually trying to produce, because I was like, this really just needed to be an hour and 35.
Right.
And so,
I'm like, it's fun to have like the girl and the her dad has premonitions and she's like but yeah, some of those things are scarier if you don't really
put a lore to it.
Right. Because I always remember that with like Freddy Krueger. It was like, oh, he was like the child killer, and all the parents got together and burnt the house down, and now he comes back in your dreams with burn. And that was enough origin. Yeah. Like, I didn't need, like, there was one movie where they put a whole bunch of, like, he was like, his mom was a nun, and she got locked in a mental institution, and then, like, so she got raped by all these, like, serial killer. It was like, I don't want that.
This is too much.
Too much.
Okay, so for the little side tangent for you guys, we're going to talk about Friday the 13th, or not Friday, Nightmare on Elm Street. But for the reboot, I know a lot of old school fans hate the reboot. I kind of liked it. Because when they're going through Freddy's like origin in the first half of that film, you're kind of like, fuck, did he not kill those kids?
Oh, right.
It got me. I was like, it seemed like he was just like a nice guy, and then they're like, oh, you're too nice. He ended up, yes, killing those kids, but like, I like that movie made me doubt that he was a child killer.
Right. It was like, oh, yeah, he didn't kill those kids, and then all the parents ganged up and burned him alive, so then he comes back to kill their kids.
Yeah.
Because...
Yeah.
Because of you.
Yeah. And so, like, in this film, I think really cut out, like, the whole club scene, cut that shit out. Yeah. That scene could have been 5 minutes where they're like doing the little getting drugged, which was, by the way, messed up. You can't drug people and not tell them that you're gonna do that.
How am I so messed up on one shot of tequila? Oh, because I
Put Molly in
put
it.
Molly in it.
Yeah, like what? Yes, I think you got it right. Like that scene, and then the scene with the mother and Jonathan.
I feel like that's like a flashback to like 80s, like Pretty in Pink, Breakfast Club, that kind of thing, where it's like, yeah, just drug them. That's fine. It's fine.
A little innocent, little Rufinol.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 80s are a different time, man. That's why the 90s were such an issue.
So weirdly, I was thinking also during this movie, the psychoticness of the clown, if it didn't have supernatural, what if like way back in the day we had a different writer for Batman and this was the Joker?
Oh my God. Yeah, well, there's a time in comics, right, where the Joker was super sadistic, wasn't there?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because it was like, what, the original was kind of just like a trickster. He was kind of like, oh, hoo, ha. And then it got like super sadistic, and then the third iteration was sort of like a mix of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously now the Joker that we have in the I haven't kept up with the comics, so I don't know what the Joker is up to nowadays.
Right, yep.
But, oh my God, that would have been fucking
Yeah, because
terrifying.
the Joker was much more a crazy clown until like the Adam West Batman came out, and then they were like, oh, hey, let's goofy up the comic to go with the show, because the show isn't allowed to make Joker mean.
Yeah.
So we got to make it a fun family show.
Oh yeah, no. If this was the Batman, if this is the Joker in the Batman's definitely killing.
Right. Yes.
But this is like mixing up like the Joker and Wolverine. That's way more terrifying.
Like this is the Joker from the. I was going to say Patton Oswalt. The newest Batman.
Oh, okay.
Whoa, Robert Patterson.
Oh.
Patton Oswalt as the Batman.
Oh no. Oh man, but yeah, like, so my only flaws I think from this movie is that it's just a little bit too long. I think if you had cut down the club scene and the Jonathan and the mother scene to like 10 minutes, we're at a solid like hour 40. Because then like, dude, by the time I got to the last fight, I was kind of like drawn. I was like kind of like over the gore, because I think what this did so well in the first one is it gave you that shock factor.
Right.
Like, oh snap, these kills are like savage. They're visceral. By the time you get to the last part, it's like, actually, like,
right, because you got her friend and they killed her, and that was very savage. Yeah. And then after that, it was like, how do you up it from that?
Oh yeah.
And so then it was just kind of like the hunt and chase kind of thing.
Yeah, and so like you're like, and it feels like, weirdly enough to say, it feels like he was kind of going easy on them.
Right.
And so, you know, maybe final theory is that there might be a connection between, if the dad was the one who accidentally imagined Art the Clown to life.
Right.
That like maybe he's trying to kill off that bloodline, because then what if they're like, oh, we'll just write him out of existence.
Right. Or he's like, oh, my comics aren't going anywhere, so let me make a devil pact to like become famous, and all of a sudden that releases. This is going to be your Watcher, you know.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be. All right, but thank you guys for joining us for our new segment now playing. This is like a nice little more free form from what we do on our regular podcast, where we talk about underrated films. Right,
which is fantastic, and you should also be following our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. We talk about, you know, you might have never seen a movie on there that like you'll maybe watch, and like, you know, you'll hear us talk about it, and that'd be really cool. I would appreciate that.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully you stay tuned for our next one. I'm gonna try to make this as visually entertaining as possible.
While following the guidelines that allow us to post.
Oh, especially for this movie.
Hey, this is a small company. Maybe they let it go.
I know, but then maybe YouTube is like, ooh, that's too much gore. Demonetized. Oof. Oh, man. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. My name is Barry.
Oh, this is Colby.
And this is the WWT Commentary Channel. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Woo!